Welcome to Construction Champions Podcast, where we are burning the house down and rebuilding it twice a week. I'm your host, Ron Nussbaum, and I am here to help you become the champion that you're meant to be. Along with our amazing guests along the way, we will provide you with the resources, the latest and greatest. You will sit down with disruptors in the construction industry. And my goal from day one has always been to change the mindset around the construction industry. No more where we let the 3% of bad apes dictate the entire reputation of. Welcome back, Construction Champions, to another episode. I'm your facilitator, Ron Nussbaum. I am the founder and CEO of Builder Farms, and I am the one that gets to bring together these conversations. We bring on influencers, leaders, disruptors, people around the construction industry that want to see the construction industry do better, so you can do better. And what we do is we have a conversation on here that you can then go take some action on. You can go continue to be that champion that you're meant to be. And every week we bring on these experts. We bring on people that have the knowledge base. Just fascinates me. There's so many people that work in service of the construction industry. I love it. And today is no different. Chris, it is fantastic to have you here with us.
Thank you, Ron, for having me.
Awesome, man. Well, before we dive into it, why don't you introduce yourself to all the construction champions out there listening?
So I'm Christopher Tiessen, President and CEO of Klaus Multiparking America, Inc. And yeah, just very enthused to be here and have the opportunity to talk to you.
Awesome, man. Well, let me ask you the $1 million question. And that is, what makes a construction champion?
For me, a construction champion is someone, in my opinion, who sees constraints as opportunities. So in my several years in the parking industry, I've learned that, construction professionals are those who embrace also innovation to solve their problems, real world problems. And it's not just for building structures, they're creating solutions that just fundamentally change how cities are function and how people live as well. For me, a champion means really challenging the status quo that everybody got used to and, everybody just keeps on doing. So when everybody accepts that parking, needs this 350 square feet per space, I ask myself and also ask the champion, why is that? And why can't we just have that space? So for me, that's a construction champion.
I love it. I mean, that's why the show was made, was because I want to challenge the status quo. I want to challenge the thinking process on why we have always done it this way in construction, because that is something you hear as a reason why not to do something different way too often in this industry.
Exactly. We are always hear that, but it has been done like that forever. We're like, we do know that, but there are technologies like our mechanical parking solutions that have been implemented in Germany for over 60 years. So Klaus Multiparking, I think everybody can guess, is a German company. The name says it. And, in the 60s, we introduced the first independent stacker and everybody went crazy over it. So slowly we grew and grew and grew. And through education, we got to the point where today, as a kind of international company, has 3 subsidiaries, multiple independent dealerships. But here, as the United States subsidiary, we have been opening doors that are just so fundamentally crucial to as I said, the city's work and how we rethink the whole structure itself. Parking is just a bit of it, but parking, since it takes up so much space, limits the builder, the developer, in so many other ways. So while reducing that, we can just open up doors that I've never thought about.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're talking about bringing something that's, like you said, 60 years somewhere else, and then the fight to get it, to get the education piece around it here in America. I have found out in the last 3 years since I started my software company, and I come from the construction industry, and I never necessarily realized about the amount of education that has to be provided. Like it isn't just, oh, that makes sense. I get that. It's like, okay, that makes sense, but like I need to know a lot more. I need to be before I'm even in a position where I want to go ahead and give it a try.
Exactly, and that's the most crucial part, that education and bringing it to the clients. And once it clicked for them and they understand the principle one of the machine, of course, it's a lot of steel that is moving around, but what it can gain them, you have just less parking area. You can start looking at building more units in the envelope you had. You have, of course, then a faster ROI, because if you think about it now, you're not digging down, for instance, 3 levels down to get 100 parking spaces. No, you have everything on one level. You maybe dig a pit for our system. We call it a puzzle parker, which the ground floor just moves left and right and makes space for the upper floor to come down or a lower floor to come up. It's very convenient. But then they have also less excavation costs, less labor costs, less material costs, and also just, faster turnaround of their project, and where they can again then, as the developer, gain their money back faster.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is the pushback, you think? Or what, like you said, the
Yeah.
education, getting this, it's a success.
Yeah.
Which fascinates me because we've had many companies on here that are making the transition into the American market and have a very successful product, a product that makes sense. But there's a challenge in the American market. And like, what do you think that disconnect is?
The, um, being comfortable where we are, it's been done always like this. So they know what they do. They know, what they're supposed to do and what the process is. And bringing something completely new in, which is a machine, which brings, of course, to mind the first thing: what happens if it breaks down?
Mm,
What happens if somebody drives into a car which is too big? All of these questions where you have to educate them on. Of course, there's this response time. The service team will come out. We will educate also the tenants on it. So that's the most pushback. And as again, coming back to the education, nobody knows what it is. I've been on several city councils where we introduced this project, and I have to testify for the client. And you notice that there's just not the knowledge there, and you have the responsibility in that point just to explain to them that this is an implemented system that's been around for 6 years in Europe, but also for 35 years in the United States. So it's not that young, I would say,
mm.
but the knowledge base is just very small. So our responsibility is to broaden it.
So you're actually having to not just educate the construction industry, you have to also educate the municipalities as well. That I do not envy you on that.
No, it's very, very hard. And there are some very strange questions you get as well. But there's just, being being honest with them, and being honest with, yes, the system can break down, but there are solutions. So it is, it is a machine. It's like a car. If you don't maintain it, it's going to break down at some point. And so there are, of course, these things that we explain to them, that this machine is safe. It has been, iteration after iteration has been tested, and we've been on in this business for so long. So we have experience, we have made the mistakes, and we've learned from the mistakes as well. So the first step for us is obviously the city as well, because when the cities, when they see mechanical parking, they just have a lot of question marks. This is understandable as well.
Can you break down for anybody that doesn't know 100% what mechanical parking is? I know we're all familiar with parking garages and that kind of stuff, but for a listener that might not 100% understand that, could you just bring them up
Of course.
quickly?
Of course. So we break it down into 3 categories. So we have our very simple car lift. You would know them maybe from your shop as well, where you just um, push a car 1 level higher with your hydraulic cylinders. And typically, people would work on their car underneath. With us, that's not possible because they're just meant for storage or parking. These ones you typically see in hotels or in valet situations, but also for your car collector as well. And then we go one further in this that we call puzzle parking. Why do we call it puzzle parking? Because it's similar to the puzzles we had as a kid where one piece is missing. They work similarly. So we have, if you have, for instance, 5 parking spaces. In this 5 parking spaces, we can double or triple the parking. Either we go one higher or one in the pits. There, one space is always missing, so we can shuffle everything on the ground floor, left and right, to make the upper car just come down or up. These puzzle parkers are great for multifamily use because they're self-use, so everybody has a key fob or a remote control can use it. And also, it's not it fits in a standard size parking spot area. And we also have implemented now a system that can also go from the ground 5 levels high as well, or 1 level and 4 levels down as well. So we are very flexible in that as well. And the next thing that's the one everybody always calls us from before is the fully automatic parking system. They might have seen in the Mission Impossible movie when Tom Hanks just jumps itself off of a platform like that. We have those as well. We've installed many of those as well, where you have a platform, you park in it, and the machine takes it away from this cabin and just puts it into the shelving unit. So it's very generalized. If you want to have more information, of course, our website would be available for it, or just call us. We'll explain it with videos as well.
Awesome. So I think because what's most in our face with stuff like this is like Carvana with their vending machine. So it's like that, but we did no glass.
Exactly. So that's our fully automatic parking system. We call that a tower system. The manufacturer behind that was very smart to include Carvana in that. And what we are more focused on are, your multifamily usages, residential, office, hotels, because typically we are the solution to huge issues. And the issue is always, I cannot get parking into the parking ratio I need into my building. Can you help us so we can actually realize the project? That's typically what we see. And that's where one of those 3 categories falls into. If it's a hotel, we'll most likely go to car stacker, we call them, or car lift. If it's multifamily, where you have 40 to 50 units, it's more a puzzle parker, but we've done bigger as well. And if it's for instance, New York City, you just the only thing you can do is dig down and have just a square in it. That's where then this Carvana or fully automatic parking system comes into play.
What is this all have to be done in like new construction, or can this be retrofit, or what does that look like?
So since we've been doing this over 60 years, of course, we've been retrofitting systems as well. So predominant use is definitely new construction, but we've been having retrofits as well, where we have products especially for it, and also where you cannot stack cars. Because typical garage ceiling heights are between the 8 feet to 9 feet. You can't stack your typical car, and there may be a Ferrari and an Aston Martin on top of it, but that would be all. So what we have is actually what we call pallets that move either in the driveway or on the original layout. We can lay out pallets as well, so we can just have more parking. We would be eliminating driveways with that one, but we just add more and more and more to it, so you can actually retrofit them with the ceiling height at hand.
Awesome. I bet like the tenants at the buildings that have they love this kind of stuff. I don't think that's who you have to sell on it. Because a lot of times like that can be a selling point on a property that you have like this, what would be looked at as revolutionary. It's not just your standard garage where you park the car. Like I would have to believe that the people that live in these buildings, you could almost charge more because of this amenity.
Exactly, definitely. We do not sell to the tenants or the end user, but we always keep them in mind because they're the user of the system. And, we don't want to have like a very tiny entrance and they have a very big car. But exactly. So what we've been seeing as well with when we hand it over, the clients do sell it as an amenity, as something because all of our systems are enclosed. Even the most
Mm.
simplest system is enclosed, so nobody can actually get to your car, which is a huge thing. We had a project in Minneapolis, well, when the riots happened, and the system actually protected the cars of the people living there. And we've been seeing it more and more. We also have an installation at Ohio State as well, and we asked the students there, what do they like? And they say that just the safety. Nobody can hide in a corner, nobody can get into the system. So these are just for us to hear that. That's amazing that there's such a value behind, even for the end user, but there's also such a value for the developer as well. So it's a great balance there.
Yeah, and that's the amazing thing about when you start to open your mind to this different stuff, doing it differently, what you end up doing a lot of times is it makes your process better, it
Mhm.
makes what you do better, but really that end customer is who benefits the most. When from my experience around this is when a construction business owner opens up and decides we're not going to do this how we've always done it, it makes their business better, it makes their bottom line, it makes everything in there better, but that customer experience and what that customer sees and experiences from that is where the drastic improvement happens.
Yeah, exactly. So that those once a developer or a developer or a client has actually jumped on the bandwagon for mechanical parking, they will not do anything different. They will always keep that because they see the value and just a drastic change in their processes as well. As soon as it's implemented, we just do that. We've been seeing, and we have clients that come back year after year, well, not year after year, but project after project, I would say, and reintroduce exactly this into their project, even though they don't need to, because maybe they have a project where conventional parking would work. They can still use the other spaces for amenities that he could have not pushed into this space before, and has a humongous value add
Mm,
to his property.
absolutely. I 100% believe that. So do you do the installs, or is this like the company does the install? How does that work? If somebody wanted to do that?
Yeah, so with Klaus Multiparking, we are there from the first second to the last second. So once you engage with us and say, okay, Chris, here I have this project I have in mind in a preliminary design. I need a solution for this. How can you help us? So we do the design phase, we do the implementation on, then in the real construction documents, help with that. As I said before, also go and have testimonies in front of cities as well, and try to, get them on our side, and successfully so yet. And then, you know, we have then our own project management, our own install teams as well, our own service as well. So you will get a turnkey product that has their name Klaus on it. And also, we are 100% owned by Klaus Germany, which is a legacy company now for with 5 generations. And Mrs. Klaus actually still is in the board in Germany. So we also have that in the back as well, which the clients love. They see the consistency. They love to see that, they're going to stay. They're not going to sell me something and going to be gone in the next 5 years, because that's security for them, because it is a big investment. Having the mind peace of mind that the company is going to be around to service these machines is substantial. So we're going to be there from A to Z, and do everything for you and support you as well, because there's um, um, so much going on well implemented, even with the construction documents that we have to tie in with MEPs, with sprinklers, with codes. Some cities have humongous codes like New York City or LA, and some, this is so new, they don't have anything. So we have to guide a lot as well.
So it's more once you wrap your mind around this, it's not like well you're on your own. Like you understand it, here you go. You guys it's really because then like you don't necessarily you're walking alongside them, so that it's not like they have to worry about getting it in place, making sure all of this works. They just work with you on that. So it's just bringing in another person onto the project to really handle this. So it's not as scary as some might think.
No, definitely not, because we take care of, since Klaus is such a big thing for us as employees as well, and working for this company and love working for this company. It's each and every project we handle like it would be our own money. We take care of it. We know that there is just sometimes limited knowledge about the system, what has to be done, so we do tend to it very, very much, because in the end, how good we worked in the beginning is how good the system will be in the end. And my project manager and I always joke, is like, if we know, if we don't do it correctly, it's going to be us one way or another who has to care of these issues. So we're going to do it right from the beginning and just be there. And if it's one meeting more that we have to have, then it's one meeting more. If we have to come out and look at the site again because there's a pipe where we're unsure that it's maybe in the way, we'll be out there. We step a step further now, coming to the is that we have a 3D scanner now. We'll come out and scan everything and look at everything, and there's a giving reassurance to the client as well. So we share all of the information that we have just to make it as smooth sailing as possible, because it's just so many unknowns for them.
That's one of the things with construction. There's so many unknowns.
Yeah.
Even when we put the plans in place, there's
Exactly.
always going to be something we can't control.
Yeah, that is a huge thing, especially if you have the MEP, which we have the most contact with, or where we get the most issues from, is if a sprinkler line is too far to the left or to the right. If we have MEPs in the way and that's hindering the car sizes that we can fit on there. That is the most unknown aspects that we have. So, but good planning is a key, but the execution is always a different part on the other vendors and part.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, sometimes the best plans can really cause some problems. I know you referenced size a few times. Uh, I take it these can probably hold, like, do they go from a small vehicle all the way up to say like a Suburban or something? Like what's the restraints on it from that perspective?
So the restraints are not in height, so we can fit every vehicle up to a 7 feet. I'm German, so I have to calculate 8 roughly. Sorry, 7 feet 8. But we are also, of course, dependent on the ceiling height or the pit depth that we have. But we can do everything, but from a very small car to a tall car lengthwise. The limit would be roughly 18 feet and 6 inches. So we do not have the capacity to have a pickup truck in there. I'm talking about the puzzle parkers right now, because they are the ones who are condensed the parking the most. If we go to the fully automatic or the stackers, with the stackers, we have just a lot more liberty that we can have these kind of vehicles. Fully automatic, the same. So weight wise, we can do everything from 4,400 pounds to 6,600 pounds. We see an increase in the weight capacity just because of the EVs out there. Because you have smaller cars that are as heavy or heavier as SUVs.
Yeah.
And which is, an aspect we did not have 10 years ago. And it's growing more and more, where we see we also have to upgrade these as well. So size-wise, we can manage all United States vehicles except Asterix pickups. I'm working on that one.
That makes sense, because what you're doing is you're trying to condense parking. You can't do that with vehicles that are double the size of some. So
Yeah.
and it defeats the purpose of
Exactly.
maximizing the space.
And that's a question we get from owners, municipalities, clients as well. Is, what about these big escalates and these pickup trucks where we say those those numbers in where we have these products are marginal, so marginal that we typically do not see the vehicles in the multifamilies or condominiums that we have them. And also, I always say, plan with some conventional parking as well, because ADA spacing is such a huge thing as well. We say take the ADA spaces and leave them out of our system, because that's the most pushback we get from the municipalities. So that's also something we always say, where you have to just look out for sizing with cars. That we have an honest conversation about what can fit and what can't.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we come to a very good solution.
Well, I mean, that's what matters, is just having an honest conversation about it. That's so you brought up electric vehicles. Do you guys have chargers in these things as well?
Yes, we do. So what we do is we don't supply the charger because we're a parking company, but we supply we supply a column or an EV, let's call it EV ready column, where then the developer can choose their own EV company to install it. So what we do is, we provide the column. The column can move with the system as well without snagging or cutting lines or anything. It's designed for that. And we have all of the cables, the data cables. So they just really have to get the company of their choosing, which they like. So we keep it open source, and they just fit their EV charger on that, and that's pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, because like you said, you do the parking, which makes sense. But I figured when you brought up electric vehicles that there was some kind of component in there that while they're sitting in there, they can
Yeah.
charge.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You guys, you're just what's next? Like where do you see this going in the parking here?
We are right now at a cross section, I would say, where we're getting to a point where more and more people think about, parking as the constraint. And we're seeing cities who say, okay, no more parking at all is required. But that does not mean that nobody has a car of which they need parked. So we still have clients reaching out, even though they don't have the necessity for it. So we're seeing a straight exponential growth, not only in the dense areas of the country. Let's say, for instance, everybody talks always about New York, but it's more for us actually New Jersey, or your Miami or your San Francisco. We're seeing it in smaller towns as well. We're talking about Ketchum, Idaho right now, where we have a project going on. We have talking about Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where we have a project. We have Salt Lake City. So Denver, we have all of these cities who have more than enough space, but the lots are getting smaller, the cost is getting higher, and they need to save somewhere, which takes up most space, and that is the parking. So that's where we see a huge potential for us, but also right now already a huge development into the right direction, where we see growth coming our way and already happening.
Awesome, man. I love it. This has been a fantastic conversation. I love having people on here that are challenging the status quo in the industry. So thank you for that. For all of our listeners, if they wanted to learn more about what you do, connect with you, where's the best places for them to do that?
So our website would be best. That's us.multiparking.com or multiparkingusa.com. There you can reach out via our form fill, sorry. Or you can reach me directly via LinkedIn as well, Christopher Tiessen. And yeah, you can give us a call, write us an email. We'd love to also just educate and, just plant a seed for you to, maybe think about a project in the future that could have, mechanical parking as a solution as well.
Oh, is it before we go here?
Yeah.
One last question. Is this also being utilized in the residential ordered at all, or is this primarily the commercial ordered?
That is residential as well. So we're seeing that as well. So, and that's growing here as well, more and more. because, the constraints are there as well.
Well, I'm a car guy, and garage space is always a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, we have that. We have just one coming up in Jackson Hole for a private residence with two stackers they want to have in there. And it's becoming more and more, you have the ceiling height most of the times, and yeah, you just have, nice cars that you don't always drive, so you can put them in there and just store them. And also, good thing is you don't have to worry about with the systems of oil leaking down, because all of our systems are built so it just runs away from the system and away from the car spinning.
Awesome, man. Well, Chris, thank you for taking the time and being on the show today.
I appreciate much.
Awesome. Construction Champions, another episode in the bag. Well, we talked about from the beginning, challenging the status quo. It's what this show is built on. Everybody listening knows that I always love a great guest that wants to challenge the status quo. And like Chris said, it's all about education. I think my challenge to everybody listening is the next time you feel the urge to say, well, we've always done it this way, or I don't know about that. Instead of saying that, how about you say, you know what? I'm going to go educate myself on that, because that truly is the gap between us not even challenging the status quo, but to being able to change our businesses and change our mindset is this education piece on exactly why we should do it different. I think a lot of times we jump in there and we just think, oh, it just has to be done differently than how we've always done it. And we don't educate ourselves on why or the process. And if we just spend a little bit of time on that, making these decisions to change how we've always done it will become a lot easier. And not only will they be easier, they would just feel like it's how we're supposed to do it because you took the time to educate yourself on it. So everybody do that. I know this week, sometime, you're going to use those words. You can't make it through a week in construction without saying something like, this is how we've always done it. So next time you're about ready to say that, say, hey, I'm going to go educate myself on that. And then learn about it and figure out if that is the way you should always be doing it. I'm not saying that there is a better solution. Maybe how we've always done it is the best. But when you feel yourself in that realm where you're saying that, just say, I'm going to go learn more about this. I'm going to educate myself and make sure this is how we should be doing it. Just because we've done it this way forever doesn't mean we should. So, Construction Champions, until next time, be the champion you're meant to be.